the insane amounts of PI here? Well, okay. This is the production. Some of this, yeah,
Warp drive active.
Okay, I'll try to keep my potty language to myself this time. Let's take a look at this planet. Tax rate was only 10%. I am uploading that video anyways. It does say excuse the language. However, this one requires robotics, bacteria, and condensates. This is the consumer electronics, oxides, biocells, superconductors, super tensile transmitters. God, oh my god, I really have to break this planet, don't I? Oh, I hate you. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Why am I doing this? Okay,
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
The routing. Ugh. Oh my god, why did I do this? Oh my god. I've got to go back and read. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is a double facepalm moment. Okay. Yes, I'm docked in Jita. Yes, I'm carrying 311 million in my cargo hold. And yes, it is all P4s. And I am going to get rid of it. Because I need seed money for 30 planets. And yeah, it's going to cost about 10 million per planet on average. And I think actually 311 million is not going to be enough. Oh, that's corporation wallet. It's probably going to cost this, probably more, because of having 6 planets. And each one of these planets here is my factory planets, like you saw before. The tax rate on these planets was only 10%. If you see here, it cost me, these are export taxes. This one was 7 million. No, what was that? Please tell me that wasn't, no, it wasn't. Okay. So these are all export taxes. Now, here's the timing. Okay. 1331 to 1335. These 4 here, I was in Ilandoki here. Right about here. Yeah, these were Ilandoki. All of this here, that was a rush job while I was in system in Malcolin. Only 3 of the planets in Malcolin had stuff on it. So you see these, I think, were Malcolin. And then these, no, those are Malcolin. So once I jumped in the system, and I immediately went into warp, got to the planet. Took another minute or 2 to get to the next planet. So all of this here was in Malcolin. I had several of the P4s in different launch pads. As you see here, there's 2 launch pads on that one, 3 launch pads on this one, because the whole setup, as you see, there is the outlined yellow for each one. This one would use some of that. This one would use some of that. This one would use some of that. And it would depend on where it went. This shows you the route for each one. I had this here so I could launch it off the planet in case the guys were jerks. I would do a quick move here and then launch it off the planet. I didn't have that set up on anything else. I only really did that with these because these would absolutely, if it was a must-have, if I had to do it, I could only launch about 1 at a time. However, I could get around the 100% tax, which was necessary in some cases. Before, some people like to be jerks, and they would jack the prices up on the iHubs to the point where you could not use the planet. 100% plus another 10% for the IHUB, or for the Empire tax, which is um, brought down by Customs Code expertise at 50%. You need trade level 4, then you can trade Customs Code expertise. And yes, it does work for Empire. If you see here, expertise in cutting through blah blah blah. Yes, it works for Empire. It just does not work for POCOs. We call them iHubs or POCOs, whatever. The POCOs were, if they're still owned somehow by Interbus, then the Customs Code expertise does not work in Empire space. However, pretty much everybody has blown up all the iHubs and put their own POCOs down. My command center upgrades is 5, so that's 6.5 million per command center. And that is my 5 main characters: Azure, Coco, Kara, Terra, and Verde. They all have Customs Code expertise 4 or 5. Most of them are 5. Command center upgrades are all 5 on those 5 characters, and interplanetary consolidation 5 on all 5 characters. The only reason I'm training planetology up anymore for this character is because here I lucked out and was able to put them all in barren and temperate planets for high-tech facilities, so that I could put my advanced production planets there. Literally, what I do to cut down on tax is I drop P1s in. As you can see here, there's tier 2 being made on this planet. Silicate glass. That's a tier 2 product, right? You need 2 tier 1s to make silicate glass. So what I'm doing is literally dropping tier 1s onto the planet, and there's only so many tier 1s, and then you can make a ton of tier 2 and tier 3s, and then once you get to tier 4s, there's only so many tier 4s you can get, such as broadcast nodes, which I put in my hangar here. Let's go here. There's 8 P4s. It means 2 can be made per planet for 2 launch pads a planet. 1 launch pad gives broadcast nodes, 1 for integrity response drones, and you can make 1 high-tech facility for this, 1 high-tech facility for that, and then run the whole shebang for P1s all the way up to the P4, and probably get away with command center upgrades 4. And if you had interplanetary consolidation 3, that would mean 2 per planet. You would only need interplanetary consolidation 3 to have 4 planets to do all of this. With command center upgrades level 4, it'll be tight. You could do it with command center upgrades 4, but I highly suggest doing that with command center upgrades level 5. That way you have the ability to drop 2 launch pads, and then the high-tech facilities, which require a certain amount of power grid and CPU, which is not showing here. Let's see about building it. Barren high-tech facility, there you go. Build cost, power load for, it's 525,000, so it wasn't 650. Which I had previously thought. Anyways, 525 for the 1 high-tech facility. You gotta drop 2 of those, that's 1.1. Your launch pad is 900k, so it's not 650, it's 900. Okay, so you gotta drop 2 of those, that's 1.8 plus 1.1, that's 2.9 plus 6.5 for the upgrade, plus 81 for the actual command center itself, you know, that you go and drop. Then you have your basic industry, or you're not using basic, that's just tier 1 products, that you just use these and these on your other planets. So those are pretty cheap for your milking planets. You're going to need these for tier 2 and tier 3. You're going to need a lot of those. As you can see here, I have 1, 2, 3, I'm not counting that. And then you have your high-tech facilities, which I've got 2. So if we went 1 launch pad, 1 high-tech facility, upgraded that, 1 and 1, That's all you would need. And then you would run these as close as you can together, and you would run your links between each one. And granted, the links are, I mean, seriously, your maximum capacity is 1250, so you could run these in a straight line all the way over here and probably not use the entire amount, as long as these high-tech facilities were right here, not at the end chain. You may not overload it. You may overload it because having to run this through here is 100 M3 an hour. Yeah, you probably could get away with it. You do not need a storage facility. You really do not need a storage facility. You use the launch pad. You run everything through the launch pad. The launch pad is the storage facility. You get 2,000 extra M3 when you can run one launch pad, and if you're only running one P4 on this planet, you drop everything into the launch pad anyways, and then it runs it through the whole supply chain over here, and runs it back into the launch pad, and runs it back wherever else it's got to go, back into the launch pad, and then runs into the high-tech facility, and then runs back into the launch pad, and then you launch it from the surface from that launch pad. Same thing goes for this side too. This is not needed. This is not needed. This thing, you could put that somewhere else on the planet. However, if you want to get past the iHub or the POCO owner and their tax, you don't want that there. However, you're only going to be able to launch 5 P4s, as those were, again, 100 M3 per hour. So every 24-hour period, you can launch 5 of those off the planet. However, you're not getting past the input tax. So if you happen to drop it in there and they want to put an embargo on the planet, all you're going to be able to do is launch everything once it's done, then kill the command center upgrades, unless you're in a corporation who can go to war, destroy the POCO, and bend that corporation to your will and take over the planet. Anyways, this has been fun and educational. I've got plenty more videos to produce, and hopefully I will keep my mouth clean. Have a nice day.